What if your reflection revealed secrets you were never meant to know? I've worked as a therapist for 12 years, and during that time, I've heard just about every confession imaginable. Infidelity, addiction, family secrets, childhood trauma. After enough years, even the most disturbing stories stop surprising you, or at least, that's what I believed. Then, a client named Marcus walked into my office, and for the first time in my career, I actually dropped my notepad. At first, there was nothing unusual about him. He was in his mid-40s, slightly balding, wearing a wedding ring, and seemed like any other client during an intake session. He sat quietly, staring at the floor before finally speaking. "I need help dealing with something," he said. "My wife thinks I'm having an affair." I silently assumed I knew where the conversation was headed. Another husband looking for forgiveness. Then he added something I never expected. "I'm not cheating." He took a slow breath. "I've been disappearing because my own reflection has been following me." My pen froze. "Your reflection?" I asked. Marcus leaned closer. 3 weeks earlier, while shaving, he noticed the image in the mirror had stopped copying his movements. He continued shaving. The reflection didn't. It simply stood there, watching him. I kept my expression neutral while mentally considering possible explanations. Psychosis. A neurological disorder. Some rare psychiatric condition. Then Marcus quietly said something even stranger. The next morning, it spoke to me. He insisted it had his face, his voice, but it said things he had never spoken. The reflection began telling him details about his mother's death. Marcus was 12 when she died. Everyone believed she had accidentally fallen. According to the reflection, that wasn't true. It claimed his father had pushed her. Even worse, it insisted Marcus had witnessed everything before his mind buried the memory. I reviewed his history. No previous psychiatric diagnosis. A respected engineer. Married for 15 years. Father of 2 teenagers. Nothing suggested he had ever experienced delusions before. Then Marcus told me something that made the entire story even harder to dismiss. The reflection said there was proof. His mother's silver locket, missing ever since the day she died, had supposedly been hidden behind the wall near the furnace in the basement of his childhood home. I carefully asked, "Did you check?" He slowly reached into his pocket and unlocked his phone. The night before, he had told his wife he was working late. Instead, he drove to the abandoned family house. The basement wall looked as though it had been repaired years earlier. He broke through it. Hidden inside was the missing silver locket. He handed me the photo. Inside the necklace was a folded note written in his mother's handwriting. "Marcus, if you're reading this, your father has done something terrible. You're in danger at that point. I recommended we meet more often. Whatever was happening, we needed time to understand it, but we never got the chance." 2 days later, Marcus's wife called my office. He had vanished. Police located his abandoned car near his childhood home. Inside the house, investigators made another horrifying discovery. Marcus's father was dead. Authorities estimated he had taken his own life at least a week earlier. Beside the body was a handwritten confession, and the same silver locket. Marcus himself was nowhere to be found. As detectives searched deeper, the case became even more disturbing. They discovered Marcus's father had been collecting large quantities of antipsychotic medication. Not enough for one patient, enough to keep someone else heavily medicated. Then officers uncovered a concealed room beneath the basement. Inside were a bed, restraints, and clear signs that someone had been living there until recently. The final detail came from Marcus's teenage son. He told investigators his father had never allowed mirrors anywhere inside their home. Whenever he shaved or adjusted his tie, he always used his phone's front-facing camera instead. He used to tell his family the same thing every time. Reflections can't be trusted. 6 months have passed since Marcus disappeared. I've listened to thousands of stories throughout my career. Most have logical explanations. Most eventually make sense. But not this one. Even now, I sometimes catch myself avoiding the bathroom mirror after dark. Because out of every patient I've ever treated, Marcus is the only one who left me questioning whether every impossible story is truly impossible. And sometimes, I still wonder what a reflection might know that we don't.